patience is often misunderstood. In today's world, it is commonly viewed as passivity, as waiting idly, or as the lack of courage to act when faced with difficulty. Many assume that those who practice patience are weaker, slower, or less capable than those who choose speed, aggression, or immediate reaction. Yet this is a misunderstanding of the essence of patience. True patience is not weakness. It is discipline. It is a deliberate practice of mastery over the impulses of the mind, the agitation of the emotions, and the distractions of the external world. It is not a passive state of doing nothing, but an active state of being fully present, fully aware, and in control of how one directs their energy. Patience requires strength because it resists the natural pull of restlessness. The human mind is conditioned to crave results quickly, to avoid discomfort, to push against time. When things do not unfold according to our wishes, impatience rises like a fire consuming our clarity. To hold still in the presence of this fire, to breathe into it rather than be consumed by it, requires an inner discipline far greater than reacting blindly. Impatience is easy, quick, and reckless. Patience is demanding, steady, and intentional. It requires one to face the tension of waiting without collapsing into frustration or despair. Discipline is the art of training oneself, and patience is one of its purest forms. To cultivate patience is to train the mind to stay calm amidst uncertainty, to train the heart to remain open even when things are delayed, and to train the body to resist the urge to act impulsively. The discipline of patience is not about inactivity, but about waiting with awareness. It is about preparing silently, observing deeply, and allowing the natural timing of life to unfold. This discipline builds endurance, resilience, and inner stillness, qualities that cannot be acquired through speed or aggression. Consider the seed planted in the soil. No matter how much one wishes to see it grow into a tree, forcing it open will only destroy it. Growth has its rhythm. Seasons have their cycles. The sun and rain must come in their own time. The one who waits with patience does not sit idle, but tends the soil, removes the weeds, and nourishes the ground. Patience is active care, not careless delay. It is a discipline that accepts the process without forcing the outcome. In relationships, patience becomes the discipline of listening without interrupting, of understanding before judging, of allowing others to reveal themselves in their own time. Impatience often fractures connections as it demands immediate conformity to one's expectations. Patience, however, allows space for growth, for trust, and for healing. To practice patience with another is not to lower one's standards or ignore one's boundaries, but to give time for understanding and change to emerge. This discipline strengthens bonds where impatience would have created division. In personal growth, patience is the discipline of persistence. Change is rarely instant. Habits formed over years do not dissolve in days. Skills are not mastered overnight. The body does not transform with one effort, nor does the mind sharpen with a single lesson. The impatient one abandons the path when results are not immediate, but the disciplined one continues, understanding that each step, no matter how small, contributes to transformation. Patience allows one to stay the course, to endure the slow unfolding of progress, and to celebrate the journey rather than only the destination. In moments of suffering, patience becomes the discipline of endurance. Pain, whether physical or emotional, often tempts us to escape at any cost. Yet not all suffering can be avoided instantly. Some wounds take time to heal. Some losses take time to accept. Some challenges require persistence rather than escape. The discipline of patience allows us to sit with pain without being broken by it, to accept its presence while trusting in its eventual passing. This is not weakness, but profound strength, for it resists both despair and denial. Patience also trains perception. Impatience narrows the vision, making one see only what is missing, only what has not yet arrived. Patience broadens the perspective, reminding us that life is a continuum, not a single moment. When the mind grows restless, it clings to immediate gratification. When the mind is disciplined with patience, it begins to notice subtle changes, gradual shifts, the hidden progress that impatience ignores. To practice patience is to open the eyes to time itself, to see not only the end but the unfolding of each step. There is also a spiritual dimension to patience as discipline. Many of life's deeper questions do not reveal answers immediately. They require silence, stillness, and openness. The impatient mind demands clarity, but only finds confusion. The patient mind waits with trust, and in that waiting, clarity begins to emerge naturally. In this way, Patience becomes an alignment with the rhythm of life, an acceptance of the mystery that cannot be rushed. It is a discipline that teaches humility before forces greater than ourselves. Patience is not passive resignation. It is not weakness dressed as acceptance. It is the active discipline of mastering one's impulses, of aligning one's actions with the right moment, of honoring the natural unfolding of life. It is a strength that resists the destructive pull of haste, that transforms waiting into wisdom, that turns silence into preparation, and that reveals endurance as a form of power. Through patience, one learns that control is not in forcing time to move, but in mastering oneself within the flow of time. Human beings live by the rhythm of time. From the moment of birth, the clock becomes a constant companion, shaping routines, decisions, and expectations. We rise when the alarm rings, we measure progress by years and milestones, and we constantly look at the watch on our wrist or the numbers glowing on a digital screen. Time dictates when to start, when to stop, when to rest, and when to hurry. But the universe does not move by this artificial measurement. The universe has its own rhythm, its own flow, its own way of unfolding events without concern for the impatience of human beings. This truth unsettles many because the human mind craves certainty, schedules, and deadlines. Yet the wisdom lies not in forcing the universe into the small box of our clock, but in learning to align with its timeless unfolding. When one looks at nature, it becomes clear that the universe has no interest in rushing. The seed does not sprout because someone demanded it to grow faster. The river does not carve valleys because a deadline was given. The stars do not appear in the sky because the clock struck a particular hour. These processes exist outside of human control, operating on laws beyond human authority. They happen when conditions align, not when one insists. And still, despite this obvious truth, people continue to treat life as though every desire must arrive within their chosen time frame. Frustration is born when life refuses to cooperate with personal schedules, when goals seem delayed, when dreams feel postponed, when efforts appear unanswered. Yet what is truly being resisted is not delay, but the refusal to accept that the universe does not work on a clock. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, but the wisdom to recognize that waiting is not passive. In the quiet spaces where nothing appears to be happening, the invisible forces of life are moving. Just as beneath the soil unseen roots grow, just as in the silence of night the body repairs itself, the universe is constantly weaving outcomes in ways that are hidden from immediate sight. To demand instant results is to misunderstand the way energy and transformation unfold. A tree does not become tall because it was commanded. It becomes tall because it followed its natural rhythm, nourished by seasons, rain, and sunlight. Likewise, the unfolding of life requires the conditions to ripen, and no clock can accelerate that ripening. Impatience often comes from comparison. Looking at another person's journey, measuring success by their timeline, creates a false urgency. The mind begins to whisper, "I am behind. I must catch up. I must force results." But the river does not look at another river and say, "I should flow faster." Each follows its own path, sometimes winding, sometimes straight, sometimes rushing, sometimes still. The universe orchestrates these journeys without measuring them by the same clock. What seems like delay is often preparation. What feels like stagnation is often incubation. And what appears like silence is often the gathering of momentum for the next great movement. Control is the greatest illusion in the relationship with time. Human beings believe that through effort, through planning, through endless striving, they can bend the rhythm of the universe to their schedule. Yet how often has life proven otherwise? How many times has an event occurred not when it was wanted, but exactly when it was needed? The truth is that the clock was never the master. It was always the servant of convenience. The real master is the unfolding of universal timing, a timing that sees beyond the limited view of the present moment. The universe does not deny, it does not delay, it simply delivers when alignment has been achieved. To live in harmony with this truth requires surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as trust. The trust that the process is working even when nothing appears visible. The trust that the waiting is not wasted. The trust that unseen doors are opening while one is focused only on the closed ones. The trust that what is truly meant will not pass by, even if it arrives later than the clock had promised. This surrender is not passive, it is active alignment with reality. It requires continuing to walk, to practice, to grow, without demanding that life submit to personal impatience. It requires faith in timing that cannot be measured, only experienced. When urgency dominates the mind, anxiety takes root. The constant obsession with when steals the presence of now. People hurry through days, blind to the gifts unfolding in the present moment, because their eyes are fixed only on the imagined future. But the universe does not respond to anxiety, it responds to energy. The energy of trust, of patience, of presence aligns more powerfully than the restless demand of urgency. To release the grip of the clock is to step into alignment with the timeless flow of existence. The clock will continue to tick, marking minutes, hours, and days. But the soul does not measure life in hours. It measures in experiences, in growth, in transformation. The universe listens not to deadlines but to alignment. It responds not to pressure but to readiness. The flower will bloom when the season has come, not when the gardener demands. The river will reach the ocean when its path is complete, not when the observer insists. And life will unfold not by the human clock, but by the universal rhythm that is beyond all measurement. Preparation is the hidden foundation beneath every visible success. What most people admire, the achievement, the recognition, the blessing, is only the surface of the story. What lies beneath is often unseen, unnoticed, and uncelebrated: the patient hours of groundwork, the discipline of consistency, and the quiet sacrifices made long before the moment of reward ever arrived. Blessings do not simply fall upon us by chance. They are attracted, drawn, and unlocked by the readiness we cultivate within ourselves. Just as the soil must be tilled before it can receive the seed, the human spirit must be prepared before it can carry the weight of the blessings it desires. Preparation is more than action. It is alignment. It is not enough to merely want something. Wanting does not make one capable of holding it. A person may crave success, but without the discipline to sustain it, that success will become a burden. A person may desire love, but without healing old wounds, love will feel overwhelming. A person may ask for opportunity, but without the skills and humility to manage it, the opportunity will slip away. Preparation ensures that what is given to us will not destroy us, but will instead strengthen and expand us. There is a rhythm to life, and those who understand it know that nothing of lasting value arrives before its time. When you prepare, you synchronize yourself with this rhythm. Just as a tree cannot bear fruit in winter, blessings cannot flourish in an unready soul. The universe, in its wisdom, often delays what we think we want until we have become who we need to be. This delay is not denial, but refinement. It is the sharpening of your tools, the strengthening of your foundation, the broadening of your capacity. Preparation is the proof that you honor what you seek, because you are willing to shape yourself into a vessel that can contain it. Consider the archer who spends countless hours perfecting their form, drawing the bowstring again and again without ever releasing an arrow. To an observer, it may seem like wasted effort, but the archer understands that true accuracy depends not on the single moment of release, but on the thousands of moments of preparation beforehand. In the same way, the blessings you long for will not be determined by one instant of opportunity, but by the hidden preparation that preceded it. Preparation is not always visible. It is often lonely work. It means rising early when no one sees, practicing when no one applauds, studying when no one encourages, enduring when no one understands. This hidden discipline forms the unseen roots that allow the tree to stand tall when storms arrive. Without roots, a tree may look vibrant for a season, but the first strong wind will topple it. Without preparation, blessings may arrive, but they will not last. Many people ask for more, but more is never neutral. More requires more strength, more focus, more resilience, more wisdom. To receive more without becoming more is to invite imbalance. A person who receives wealth without discipline will waste it. A person who receives influence without humility will misuse it. A person who receives power without wisdom will harm themselves and others. Preparation is what ensures that blessings do not crush us, but lift us higher. There is also a spiritual dimension to preparation. To prepare is to show gratitude in advance. It is to say, I trust that what I am working toward will arrive, and so I make myself ready for it now. This kind of preparation becomes a form of faith. It is not passive waiting, but active becoming. It shifts the focus away from the blessing itself and toward the person you must become in order to sustain it. The real blessing is not the external gift, but the internal growth that allows you to receive it without fear. Think of the farmer who prepares the land. He does not know exactly when the rain will come, but he tills the soil anyway. He does not wait to see the clouds before he plants the seeds. His preparation is his confidence that the rhythm of nature will fulfill its part. Likewise, preparation in life is a declaration that you trust the unfolding of events, that you believe the unseen order of things will meet your readiness with opportunity. Preparation demands patience. It requires you to endure seasons of invisibility when your efforts produce no immediate result. It asks you to persist when progress feels slow, to keep walking when the path seems endless, to keep shaping yourself when no blessing is yet in sight. This patience is not wasted. It is forming in you the strength to carry what is coming. When the blessing finally arrives, it will be so weighty, so meaningful, that you will understand why preparation took so long. And yet preparation is not only for grand moments of destiny. It applies to every area of life. To speak words that heal, one must prepare the heart to be compassionate. To lead others, one must prepare the spirit to serve. To create beauty, one must prepare the mind to notice it in the smallest details. Every blessing requires a preparation that mirrors its nature. In truth, blessings and preparation are not separate. They are two sides of the same process. The preparation itself is already a blessing because it shapes, refines, and strengthens you. The external blessing is simply the reflection of the internal transformation. To prepare is to invite, to align, to signal to the universe that you are not only asking, but you are ready to hold what is given. Silence is not simply the absence of noise. It is not the quiet moment when the world rests or when conversations cease. Silence is a living presence, a subtle teacher that is always available to those willing to pay attention. We spend much of our lives drowning in sound, voices, music, notifications, distractions, the endless stream of thoughts running through the mind. But when you enter silence, when you consciously choose to quiet the noise within and without, you discover that silence has a language of its own. It whispers truths that cannot be spoken. It reveals patterns hidden beneath the surface of life. And it opens the heart to a depth of listening that ordinary hearing cannot reach. To listen deeper does not mean to simply hear words more clearly. True listening is not limited to sound. It is about perceiving the unspoken, sensing the energy behind words, feeling the intention that moves through people and situations. Silence allows you to listen not just with the ears, but with the whole body, the whole being. The mind becomes still enough to notice subtle vibrations. The heart becomes open enough to feel what lies behind appearances. The body becomes sensitive enough to register the shifts in energy that occur in each moment. When you are always speaking, when you are always filling the air with sound, you leave no space for this deeper form of listening. Many people listen only to reply, not to understand. They listen while their own thoughts are still loud, waiting for their chance to interrupt. But silence teaches another kind of listening. Listening without judgment, without interruption, without the urge to immediately respond. In silence, you do not prepare an answer. You simply receive what is being given. You let the truth of the moment unfold, and only then does real communication occur. In silence, you begin to notice what words cannot capture. For example, when someone speaks, silence allows you to feel the pause between their sentences, the breath they take before they continue, the hesitation in their tone, the energy behind their choice of words. Silence sharpens perception to such a degree that you hear not just what is said, but what is meant. You hear not just sound, but intention. This deeper form of listening is only possible when silence is cultivated within. Silence also teaches you to listen to yourself. Most people live their lives externally, constantly pulled by what others say, by expectations, by demands. They hear so much noise from the outside that they cannot recognize their own inner voice. But when you sit in silence, when you close your eyes and let the mind settle, you begin to hear something else. It is faint at first, like a whisper, but it is always there. The deeper you enter silence, the clearer this inner voice becomes. It does not shout. It does not argue. It does not demand. It simply guides like a quiet river flowing beneath the surface of the earth. When you listen to it, you begin to live in harmony with yourself. Listening deeper also means becoming aware of nature. When silence surrounds you, suddenly the smallest sounds become meaningful. The rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the flow of water, all these become vivid. You realize that life itself is speaking to you in countless ways, but only silence allows you to hear it. in the stillness of nature. You do not impose yourself upon the world. Instead, you blend with it, you sense its rhythm, and you begin to recognize that you are not separate from it. The silence of the forest, the silence of the mountains, the silence of the night sky, these are not empty. They are filled with presence, and listening to them transforms the way you perceive existence. Silence also reveals the depth of relationships. Many think that relationships thrive on constant conversation, but often it is in silence that the deepest connection is found. When you can sit with someone in silence without discomfort, when the need for words disappears, you know that a true bond exists. In silence, you sense the presence of another being more fully than through language. Words can hide, words can distract, words can even manipulate. But silence strips away the masks and reveals the essence. Listening deeper means listening not only to what another person says, but also to what their silence communicates. There is also a form of silence within silence. When you quiet the outer world, you begin to face the inner world, and at first, this can be uncomfortable. The mind, when not distracted, begins to reveal its chaos. Thoughts come rushing in, emotions surface, restlessness arises. Many avoid silence for this reason. They fear what they might encounter inside, but if you remain with it, if you stay patient, eventually a deeper silence appears. This silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a profound stillness where even thought loses its grip. In that stillness, you discover a dimension of listening that is beyond the senses. You listen to life itself. You listen to existence unfolding in each moment without needing explanation. This is why silence is powerful. It is the teacher that shows you how to listen beyond the surface. It teaches you to perceive the subtleties of life, to recognize the inner voice, to sense the presence of others, to connect with the natural world, and to discover the profound stillness that lies beyond the restless mind. Silence does not need to explain itself. It simply asks you to enter, to surrender, and to listen with a depth you may have never known before.